over those 2 games. Emerson. And Blackmore with a chance to pull one back. Ravanelli has done it. And Middlesbrough, who looked down and out, 2-0 down, are back at 2-2. And they've done it with 10 men. Juninho teasing and taunting again. Ravanelli. Vickers! Oh, it's bounced out. It's in from Preston. And in this epic FA Cup semi-final, Middlesbrough are in front for the first time. 10 minutes into extra time. And the first semblance of a smile from Brian Robson. Good early cross. Very good early cross. Hewitt! Jamie Hewitt! The lad from Chesterfield has equalised for Chesterfield in the 119th minute. Juninho again against the mass ranks of Chesterfield, but he's found the pass for Beck, and Mikael Beck has given Middlesbrough the lead. It's a goal. Ravanelli. And that might mean curtains for Chesterfield. Juninho wants the ball played to him. Ravanelli spots out Emerson! Well, what a way to round it all off.
Yeah, we make well even. It's a wonderful goal.
So, we were there, Wembley, we'd done Chesterfield, so the Twin Towers yet again. Coca-Cola Cup, almost success. Will it be FA Cup success? How confident can you be? I know you're still down over the Leeds United thing, but it is the FA Cup. It must lift you automatically.
I don't think you need lifting for it. It's just one of them games that you live for, really, and you hope that you'll play in it before you finish your career. So I won't need any lifting for it, and I'm sure the rest of the lads won't. I mean,
you played ZDS.
I did.
You'd love to have played FA Cup, surely.
Oh, without a doubt. As we've already mentioned, it's the biggest cup in England, probably the world. The FA Cup's the major competition. And yeah, I'd love to be there. But I think big boost would be Ravanelli's comeback. You know, he has scored 31 goals, been out with this injury problem. But he would give us a big boost that we need, you know. I think we're a bit lightweight up front. You know, Mikael Beck tried very hard, but he's not physically strong to hold the ball up on his own. It's very hard playing up front on your own. I've did it myself. Very, very hard position to play on your own. It'd be great to see the return of Ravanelli. But we keep mentioning the foreign players, Ravanelli, Juninho. But you have to remember guys like Higgy, took a drop in wages, Curtis Fleming, Musto. These are the guys for me they've put a lot in this season. And we have to give them credit for getting us to 2 cup finals.
You mentioned Ravanelli there, maybe a big difference if he comes back for Wembley. Juninho, you've obviously played in games when Ravanelli has played, and you've played in games when he's not been fit. Is there a big difference from your style? Do you play well with Fabrizio?
Yeah, I agree with what's been said, because when you play with one in the front, it's very hard. For example, Beck play between 4 defenders. It's very hard to him to get the ball. When play 2 in the front, it's better for me, better for Iggy, because they move all the time and create opportunities for we passing the ball, to create opportunities to score. So, but when we play with one, so in the front, easier for them than defenders to mark us.
He does all this, doesn't he? Doesn't that put you off as a player?
it depends if he's shouting at you. I mean, he's very passionate about the game, and he's very animated as well. So, I mean, some things he'll be really frustrated, and he may go over the top. I mean, I don't know what it's like for Junior, but as an English lad, sort of, that gets on our nerves a bit, you know, if someone's having a go at you and gesturing to you. But I mean, that's just the way Rav is. I think that's the way Italians are, and it's just something we've had to put up with all year. But, you know, we know he doesn't mean anything by it. Everyone gets a bit frustrated, just people show it in different ways.
Fabrizio Ravanelli was bought by Brian Robson, of course, funded by Chairman Steve Gibson, somebody who hasn't really been mentioned during this show. We're going to put that to rights now. Steve Gibson, of course, the man with the help of Brian Robson and the backroom staff who've turned Middlesbrough into what it is these days. From 1986, when it was almost on the, well, it was on the verge of bankruptcy, and even the pools companies took us off the pools list because they didn't think Middlesbrough would survive. I suppose a lot of credit has to go to the chairman. What's his views on FA Cup final success, we say, with a question mark?
Nothing surprises me in football anymore, and I think that the last week or so has really reflects the whole season. And we have to lift the players, we have to lift ourselves, we have to lift the club, we have to lift the fans, and at times like this everyone feeds off each other. Our performance since round about Christmas time has been about 1.5 points a game. So we are beginning to get the rewards in the league of these international players. People say, are the overseas players going to stay? Well, we've had a tough year, and it's taken us a year to settle them down. We don't give them up so easily. We're just beginning to get the rewards. Understand that it is in my total power to keep these players at this football club, and if Brian wants the players to stay, they will stay. We would prefer it to be with their cooperation. I can't imagine a situation where we cannot convince the players that it's in their long-term interests, that it's not in their long-term interest to stay at this club. And when you sign a 3 or a 4 year contract, you can't just take all of the glamour and all of the success and none of the failures and none of the rough times. It comes as a package and you can't cherry pick it. And these players have put the club in the first division by winning on the field of play 42 points. This team is capable of a greater point tally than that. We should have been at 60 points this season. And I've got to ask why, and I've got to find out why. And I think we know the answers, and we have to implement the changes now.
Looking at one of the foreign players in particular, the one that the fans have really taken to their heart is the little fella, Juninho. Magnificent player, magnificent on and off the pitch. To him, though, his quandary will be his Brazilian aspirations, his national team aspirations. How tough a line will you draw?
I think that with Juninho is an individual that we are very proud of at this football club. I know the fans are proud of him, I'm proud of him, the manager's proud of him, but it's a bit wider than that because we're also very proud of the way the family have conducted themselves. They've got into Teesside life, they're enjoying it here, and I know they care about the fans, they care about the club, and that's very important. And I think that we have to ease Juninho fears about his international career, and we can do that by speaking to the Brazilian national team manager. I've sent an invite to him to attend the FA Cup final as our guests. I understand he has a conflict on that day, but he's told us that he's trying hard to change that and to come. So we will go to Brazil, we'll talk to him. My interests have to be I have to take interests for Middlesbrough Football Club and its supporters, and I can't see in any way how it can be the interests of this football club and its supporters for Juninho to leave.
You talk about interests, you talk about hard lines. The fact that Middlesbrough have been relegated, how much damage can that do to the forward progression of this club?
We have to limit the damage. I know the players that we were trying to bring in had we stayed in the Premier, and them players are unlikely to be attainable now. First of all, because they would not wish to play in the first division, and secondly because our finances are taking a bit of a bashing. What I can say is that we will find a route through all of that. Brian's remit is absolutely clear. We need to be back in the Premier this season. Brian wants that for himself and he wants it for the club, and I believe it will be attained.
Are you ruling out, by what you're saying, any possibility of the courts and the intervention of the courts with the decision of the 3 points, Steve?
You're the first person to ask me that. It's something that we're looking at. We're not ready to go public. It's very complex. It's not as easy and as simplistic as some quarters would have it. But behind the scenes, we're working very hard. We've had a lot of debate with our councillors, our legal people, and we perhaps have to do something which nobody expects, and the timing of that is crucial. We have to have a realistic chance of winning at what we do, and to be simply stubborn and unwittingly determined doesn't necessarily bring the right results.
The supporters, of course, though, would want you to do everything in your power to keep that Premiership status. I suppose from their point of view and their fears, the only question they would expect you at this stage to answer is whether you've ruled it out or not. So are you saying you still haven't ruled out that possibility?
ruled out that possibility.
Well, we wish you well for the FA Cup final.
Thank you.
First time in 121 years. From a personal point of view, Steve, how much pleasure will you get when you see your team walk out of Wembley for the first time in that major club competition?
It'll be a very proud moment for me, and as we said earlier, I'm the same as all of the fans, and I look forward to the day immensely, but I want to win it. I want to win it for the fans, I want to win it for the players, and I want to win it for me. And I think that that will be the one thing that can perhaps put some sense into this